Hello, everybody. We're here. We're live.
Hello?
Right as Stream Elements says we're live.
Hello? Are
Hello.
we live?
We are.
I'm gonna pull it up on my other screen so I can see what people are saying. Are we currently? Oh yeah, it does look like we're live.
There we
I
are.
see us. That's me. What?
The
And
Leo
that
DiCaprio
and
moment.
and that's Zed.
It's me.
And
And
that's
it's you.
me again. Zed, I feel like it's been 5 minutes since I've seen you. Do you want to tell everybody about our movie date
Oh
yesterday?
my goodness. What a time
To
we
be
had
alive.
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What a time.
Yep.
Yeah, courtesy of Riley in the Discord, our single feature turned into a double feature.
Yeah.
And so we went to see Nick Cage's instantly iconic The Unbearable Weight of Massive
Yeah,
Talent.
some movies take a while to become iconic,
Not
others
this one.
are instantly iconic.
In the moment as we're watching it
This was
before
one
it's
of
even
them.
finished.
Yeah, strong endorsement for The Unbearable Weight of
I
Massive
want to go see
Talent.
it again.
I also wanna go see it again. I don't know when I'm gonna have a chance to, but my brother was like, "So did you see it?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Was it good?" I said, it was exceptional." And I really want to create
Unreal.
Daniel Faraday, I can make time dot gif. Like, that's what I
Uh-huh.
want to do to get this going, but I don't know when it's gonna happen for me, but I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great.
Absolutely.
Wigloff
Hey,
says,
if Kevin hasn't seen it when he
Wigloff's
gets
gonna tag
here,
along.
yeah, Wiglaf will come with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would
Mhm.
get a whole squad together to go see it anytime.
That would be a very fun, like, assemble a posse to go see the unbelievable weight of massive talent. Unbearable weight, but also
Unbearable
unbelievable.
and unbelievable.
It's, like, extremely bearable. It's, like,
Yeah.
the beyond bearable, unbearable weight of massive talent.
What an absolute blast from start to finish.
It's a
Completely
treasure.
unreal, totally wild,
Yeah.
and
And
like a
then
good movie
It
somehow
it was like
also.
it's both, like, super fun, really funny, really insane, and also, like, really good, like, emotionally true, and, like,
Fast paced?
fast-paced and, like, the storytelling, like, the structure, like, the craftsmanship that went into making the movie is, like, really tight.
Yeah.
We were breaking it down on I was with Grace and Ariel on the podcast and, like, talking about, like, the ways in which the movie is so much about the process of making movies and how they can break your heart. Just unbelievably terrific.
Yeah, really,
Uh,
really brilliant. Highly, highly recommend. So that's what we've got for you up top at the start of this Final
yeah,
Fantasy podcast.
yeah.
And then we
More
followed that
relevantly to
up.
Final Fantasy was the other movie we saw,
Yeah, we went and watched The
The
Northman right
Northman.
after that.
Yeah,
That was a brain twist.
yeah, yeah. I don't. I need to check that one out again. I think because I don't think that it was the right vibe after the Nicolas Cage movie.
Mhm.
Um, ooh, Mike is here. Uh,
Mike is
I
here.
I just don't know that it was the best fit. It's no one's fault, Riley, but it is just an
It was a lot. It
observation.
was a lot of yelling, but not Nick Cage yelling. We
No,
kept expecting him to show up on the screen at any minute, and it
yeah,
didn't happen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, wild. Another absolutely wild film that felt much longer to me,
yeah.
despite being about the same length as The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fjolnir. Yeah.
Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler,
Yeah,
spoiler,
I can't
spoiler.
say the other
Yeah.
spoiler part, but
Uh-huh.
there's so much else. I
Yeah, so
will
that's a
yeah,
quick hit of the Al Brooklyn Zed and half-eaten burger Josh Wigler,
yeah. I'm no longer
movie
a
club.
half-eaten burger.
I know.
The burger has been eaten, it has been consumed in its entirety. And now we get to talk about the rest of Final Fantasy VI. Uh,
Yes.
last Final Fantasy podcast for a minute, folks, and we're doing it live. So we hope that you enjoyed the show, at least until you finish Chrono Cross, and then we can have our special Chrono Cross episode.
Uh-huh.
So that'll be in what, 5 years?
Someday, yeah.
No,
It really
no.
probably depends on Mike's availability to be in the chat helping
Yeah,
me through the
you need
entire game.
listen, you could just put on the bumper rails of, like, invincibility mode and all of that stuff, and it'll take you, hours to get through certain boss fights. But you just like leave the Switch in the dock and like do your life on the meanwhile.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the regular fights take eons if you're only attacking and not using your elements.
The game is very confusing and it's breaking my heart. I shouldn't have replayed it.
Oh,
I feel bad. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to not be enjoying playing Chrono Cross. It feels actively terrible, actually. I still love the vibe. I still love the music. There are still some story twists and turns, and then like themes that I think are great.
I
But
really had fun with the first couple hours where the game was just like completely insane to me,
man,
and I was like, "What is happening? Why have I found a disembodied skull in a jester costume?"
man,
Um,
I don't
but then
know.
they just keep throwing more stuff at you, and I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. I don't know about it. I feel like it just doesn't play great. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're not
so we'll
using
see.
elements,
We'll
you're
come back
going
to that at
ugh.
some point. I will not let this game defeat me.
No.
If I finished Final Fantasy V, I can finish Chrono Cross.
Yeah, you've defeated enough games at this point that you'll be good. Like I'm like in a kind of interesting place with it right now, story wise. So I'm
Mhm.
grinding through. I think I'll be done in the free time that I do have, where I'm not going to a double feature with you, Zed. I am playing Chrono Cross right now.
Uh-huh. I
It'll get
regret
done.
nothing about our choices yesterday.
I'm trying to think if I agree. I think I agree,
Yeah.
but I do nah. I do think that maybe I wouldn't have double featured with the Northman. I'm glad
Mhm.
that we did because we got the pickle fries from the Alma Draft House,
I
and
have
the
not
pickle
stopped
fries.
thinking about fried
Yeah,
pickles for the last, like, 24 hours.
if you've got a draft house and your draft house is serving fried pickles, let me tell you what.
Gotta eat them.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta do it.
Mike says I think you're very close to getting it too. Zed, what the pickles, Mike?
No, getting
That was
the
yesterday.
element
No, I know, I know.
situation.
I'm being an idiot.
I've figured out a decent amount of it, I just don't like it. It's so many things to have to keep track of.
I don't like it either. Is it when like
Colors and numbers and
is the bullseye the thing that you're aiming for? Is like the small circle what you're aiming for, and then the second circle, and then is it pushing out, or
the
does it?
field of the only thing I know about the field effect is that if you make them all the same color, then the elements of that color are more powerful.
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's neither here nor there. It's very much there for later.
Have you what? Where are you up to in the game right now? I have a question.
Uh, Good question. I went back to the present time or back to
Homeworld.
it's like, yeah, home world.
There's home,
I have
home and another, which I always want to say is home and away.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I have reassembled Skelly. That was the majority of my
That's
last
fun.
stream.
Yep.
Um, how you do that just like on your own without Mike Edwards in the chat telling you where to
Well,
go is beyond
to
me.
do that with at like a quick pace, yeah. But I think that you would probably just sort of end up running into this stuff
Mhm.
for the most part.
I don't have the time of a 10-year-old in the 90s anymore.
Sure. Yeah. That
That's really
tracks.
the I think that's a big a big factor in our
Yeah.
enjoyment or lack thereof in playing this game.
Yeah. That tracks. That tracks.
Yeah.
Uh I have you met Glenn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have Glenn or no?
Mm, I don't remember. Mike will know if I have Glenn.
I've absolutely renamed Glenn Frog.
Frog?
Yes, 100%.
Gotta.
Yeah, had to. And also, like, there is like a choice that you have to make, branching paths and all of that. And one branch gets you Glenn and one branch doesn't. Um, and knowing that I was not going to replay this game after this time, even after like a new game plus or anything. Um, and even though the path that gets you to Glenn, yeah, Zed, you're not going to get
I'm
Glenn.
not getting
Yeah,
Glenn.
because the path to get Glenn doesn't really make sense for you to do on a story level. You're like choosing so like kid got sick or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to choose like I'm not going to help,
Like, what the
basically.
heck? The most interesting person you have so far, you're gonna not save them?
Yeah.
Kid is
Well,
spicy. I had to keep Kid.
kid is spicy, of course, but that way you don't get Glenn. So I wanted to
Mhm.
get Glenn so I could name him Frog.
Yeah, Mike did warn
That's what
me.
I
He
knew.
was
Yeah.
like, "Story-wise, it makes the most sense to get Kid, but you will get better characters if you don't save Kid."
You're
And I
not
was
gonna
like, "Yeah,
replay this
no.
game, right? You're not gonna do it again, so I could just tell you what happens if you don't
Sure,
save
yeah."
Kid?
Here on our Final Fantasy VI podcast,
Well, we're not
please.
podcasting yet. We should soon. If you don't save Kid and you then just like start playing the game for like the next like little bit of game that you have to play, eventually you just go back to the village and Kid's like, "What's up? I'm fine now." That's
Oh,
it. I woke up.
okay. That's dumb.
I'm up.
I'm up, I'm up.
That's it.
Ay, ay, ay.
So
Okay,
yeah, that
sure.
was worth getting Glenn for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Who do you have? Did you get Guile?
Mhm.
Yeah, Guile's cool. Guile's
Guile,
music
who is
goes with
basically
everything.
Magus.
Yeah.
He flies around the same way, and he's got purple hair,
Yeah. Very
and he
similar
does
characters.
magic.
Yes, he does magic. Yeah, I miss Magus. This game just makes me miss Chrono Trigger. I think that this game needed fewer characters. By
Mhm.
how many are there? 40 something, Mike.
Yeah.
I think yes, there is, Mike. I think that there needs to be like if there's 40 characters, I think there need to be 32 fewer characters.
I have the giant pink dog.
Yeah,
I have a fairy.
yeah,
It's chaos.
yeah. I have like Neo something.
Uh-huh.
Who's like a plant that sprouted. Yeah,
Sure.
I got her. It has like a what were they called? Like Neopets.
Yeah.
What were the Tamagotchis?
Tamagotchis, Neopets,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
well, Neopets was the online thing. There were Tamagotchis, and then there was the other one that was like Tamagotchi,
I
and I
don't
can't
know.
remember what it was called.
Yeah. Oh, a Neofeo. Yeah, you could go get Neofeo for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my
All right,
goodness.
we should probably talk about Final Fantasy
I
6.
guess,
All
yeah.
right. Is everyone ready to talk about Final Fantasy 6? Because I'm going to switch into podcast mode now.
Oh boy.
Okay. It's a big change. Hold on. Let me just reset. Okay. It's very serious business podcasting about Final Fantasy 6. Okay. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. It's the Final Fantasy VI podcast here on Post Show Recaps. And indeed, it is the Final Fantasy VI podcast here on Post Show Recaps. I'm Josh Wiggler, flying around the world looking for my friends alongside Al, Brooklyn, Zed. Zed, we just got to find everybody.
Yeah, we just gotta find everybody.
Yeah.
I think we left off with 6 or 7 of our characters, so we just have half of them left to go.
Let's track who we have. We have Celis. You have no
Mhm.
choice but to have Celis. We have Sabin. That was optional, but really kind of
But pretty,
mandatory.
they drop you off basically in his lap, so
We've got Edgar.
mhm.
Mandatory. You have to
Jared,
have Edgar.
yes.
Jared. You have to have Setzer in your party, or else how are you to fly around the world on Falcon back?
Mhm.
Then we went and we just yada picking up the cyan.
Yeah.
He's catfishing. He's
In
sending
a cave full of silk flowers.
he's sending silk flowers around the world pretending to be a dead guy because he thinks that that's the chivalrous thing to do. And let me tell you, Cyan, this is pretty creepy behavior. And also, why are you like just living on a mountain in Zozo? There's just so many other places you could have picked.
Yeah, weird choices, man.
How also did you get past the rusted door without the rust oil? I would like to know. And then we went and we picked up Tara, who was reluctant to rejoin the fight, but ultimately Tara said, "You know what? This is pretty much the end of the game, right?" And everyone looks at each other like, "Is this the end of the game?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's basically the end of the
Probably?
game." And she's like, "Okay, well, if we're very close to the end, then I will fight alongside you at
Yeah.
least this one time."
There's like a time limit on how much longer I can do this, but if you think we can get it done within that time, then I'll come with you.
And
Otherwise,
then
come get me later.
And then we really yada, though the game does as well, the pickup of a seventh player. We just went to the Veld and got Gao back.
Yeah, all you gotta do is only have a party of 3 instead
Yeah,
of 4, which you have to do a handful of times in this game, and it feels very counterintuitive. But in order to achieve certain things, you have to like short your party so that you can so that other
yeah,
there's room for people to join you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so Gao has rejoined. Wow, my friends.
I joined you again.
Yeah. And so Gao's back, and that's just lovely. It's great. And so now we're kind of left with just like, okay, well, you guys want to storm Kefka's tower? And I said, no, 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 no. We don't have all of our friends back.
No.
And so now we are in the end game of Final Fantasy VI Zed, where we are having to recollect all of our friends, and you can do it any way you want, basically. There's a couple things that have to happen first before you do the next thing. But by and large, how you want to do this is really left to you, and all the other additional bells and whistles are left to you. We talked about this last time that some people find this exhilarating, some people find this a little bit frustrating. For me, on my most recent playthrough, I loved this stuff, but some of it maybe I enjoyed more than other aspects of it. But that leads us to this final portion of the FF6 podcast, which we are streaming live on twitch.tv/Hard Rock Hope. Zed, your digital home.
Yes, hello. You can come hang out with me here all the time. And if
Hmm.
you want to see a video of this podcast with bonus content that will not be on the podcast, I do believe, that's where to do it. Twitch.tv/Hard Rock Hope. And then it will eventually move over to YouTube, which is also Hard Rock Hope.
Yes, there was a little bit of a pre-show that was exclusive for the Rock Squad here, where we were just talking about Chrono Cross, which is a game that is the sequel to Chrono Trigger, which we have previously podcasted about. Got a shout out from a new patron of post show recaps today, by the way, Zed, reaching out, being like, "I love that you all covered Chrono Trigger." It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yay.
well, we also loved that we covered Chrono Trigger. Are we loving that we're playing Chrono Cross may be a different question, and that was what we were talking about in the preamble.
I love that Square Enix gave me a copy of Chrono
Yeah,
Cross.
of course. That's very exciting, and we love that as well. And there's much that I still really love about Chrono Cross, but I'm currently playing that. It's out on Switch right now. Zed is playing it as well here on Hard Rock Hope on Twitch. And I do believe that when they are done and when I am done with that, we'll do a special one off podcast specifically about Chrono Cross. But I'll say that I don't know when next the Final Fantasy podcast will meet, other than that. We're for sure going to take some time off. We definitely want to hit Final Fantasy IX. Zed, this journey is not complete as far as I'm concerned until FF9 has happened. And maybe we sidebarred a tiny bit offline about a fun Final Fantasy thing that could be popping up in the feed at some point in time. But as far as guaranteed Final Fantasy feed podcasting goes, this is going to be it for a minute when we've been like going at it very hard for like a year now.
Yeah. We started this journey in January of 2021, and here we
Over a
are,
year.
yeah, on the brink of May 2022,
Wow.
and we've been going strong.
The Brink of May seems like that should be an album name for something. Yeah. I don't know what genre. Um, I don't know. What was the something emo from Severance? Brink of May, I think could be
Uh-huh,
good.
uh-huh,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I think that that could be good. So we're on the brink of the end of the Final Fantasy podcast for now, not forever. So enjoy us while you have us, folks, and let us enjoy the world of Ruin as long as we have it, Zed. And I guess this is kind of like dealer's choice. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Do you at least want to tell me first how much you did or did not enjoy finishing Final Fantasy VI?
Sure. I think on a first playthrough, without really knowing the scope of the game and the end game and where the story is going to go, it is a little hard to craft a story onto it the way that you have discussed doing on this playthrough. So it does feel a little more rote in terms of go to the places, find the people, do the things to get the people. Um, this time around, I've had a better sense of what's happening so I can like make choices a little more. Um, it is always kind of fun to put those pieces together and like have someone go, "Oh, well, here is your clue to your next location." Um, but it does feel rather story light for a
Yeah.
while as far as what the game is giving you,
Yeah.
for a good period of time.
I mean, they're wrapping up individual stories, and so like that's the story to thread together. And so for me, the threading of that story together involved going and collecting all of my friends, watching my friends resolve their issues, and then making them as strong as humanly possible. As Sabin, the bodybuilder, chaperoned all of them to the dinosaur forest, where they proceeded to get viciously torn apart initially by Tyrannosaurus rexes and especially Brachiosauruses, and
Yeah.
then proceeded to get so ripped, so jacked, so physically strong, and so adept at all of the important magics of the game that literally everybody that I had, except for the two people I didn't use, were unstoppable, utterly unstoppable. And that was my whole thing. And at a certain point, Saban wasn't even needed. I kept rotating people in, rotating people out, 3 in, 3 out, and Saban would always stay because, like, listen, I'll just keep bum rushing, and that's going to do a guaranteed max damage every single time. But
Mhm.
eventually, you're all going to get strong enough that we're going to get, multiple attacks in a single shot. Your strength will be up at a point where you're going to be dealing 2 max damages around. Maybe
Does
one,
Saban sound like Nick Cage?
maybe I mean, maybe he is right now. One of you is going to have the master scroll at a certain point in time, and so you're going to be able to hit 4 times with that, and then I'll leave, and you'll all be set, and you'll be good to go. And eventually, that did happen, where Saban was able to when you love something, set it free. And so he
Mhm.
left. He goes back to the airship, and now I'm just subbing everybody in and out, and it was an utter delight to just have everybody exercise, really is what it was. Zed, it was like, well, a training montage to take down Kefka's tower as ruthlessly,
Mhm.
efficiently as humanly possible. And by the time I got to Kefka's tower, I just stomped on absolutely
Decimated everything.
everything that I
Yeah.
came across. Nothing could stop me. Every single person in my party had Ultima. Every single person in my party had Flare. Every single person in my party had, I think it's Holy. Every single person in my
Mhm.
party had all of the cure spells, full life, everything that you could possibly need. And I had all of the great relics and enough that I could even spread them out. I didn't have to keep stripping everybody naked and tossing around the armor and the relics from party to
Uh-huh.
party, even though maybe I did that a little bit on some people. Even Gao. Wow, wait, I get to learn Ultima? Yeah, Gao, you do too.
Sure.
You're coming with us to Kefka's tower. And I was able to divide my party up into what made sense for me in terms of stories of how these people would want to roll together. So I just had the best time doing all of that. We'll talk party formation when we get to Kefka's Tower, but that was generally what happened. And all of that happened over the course of 2 4-hour car rides while
Mhm.
Emily was driving and I was sitting in the passenger seat. She's like, "Are you okay over there?" I was like, "I am more than okay. I am killing so many dinosaurs and I am uncursing this shield. Everything is great. Everything's fantastic."
Sounds like a dream.
It was a great time. It was a great time. All right,
Yeah.
who do you want to pick up first, Zed?
I mean, I wanna get Mog, absolutely, like,
Sure.
no question. As soon as I can have him back, I must have him back.
Right.
He is the king, and I did name him King Mog on my,
Incredible.
current playthrough.
Incredible. Do you have to is there enough characters for King Mog? Like you have enough
Oh, yeah, yeah,
character
yeah.
spaces? Oh, that's an
You
upgrade.
can get you could have 12 spaces, and King Mog, even with a space, is
That's
only 8.
change. That's a change from once upon a time. So you're going to the caves of Narsh then.
Mhm.
And as you're going through, you find up in the Moogle cave. And if we want to headcanon in the cases where we don't know what people have been up to for the year since the world ended and the year that we met them, gosh, Zed, it sure looks like Mog has just been facing a wall for a year.
Just standing in the corner thinking about what he did.
Yeah, what's going? Is he trying to use the potty? Like, what's going on with Mog? He's just like, no one look. Everyone, I need a private moment. I
I'm
don't know.
in mourning.
I'm in mourning.
Yeah.
Can't you see there's no more Moogles? There are
I'm
no more
sitting
Moogles.
Shiva, and this time I do mean Shiva, not Shiva.
Mhm. Yeah. And so Mog then finally turns around. It's like, I haven't seen people in years. Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I'll come with you, Kupo.
My
My
friends.
friends. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and so Mog has joined, and if you leave the cave without checking the spot that Mog has been standing in, you're missing out on a very important thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
like the best thing.
a very useful relic, which used to be called the Moogle charm, and now I believe it's called like the Malulu charm.
Malulu's charm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Malulu's charm. Was Malulu one of the Moogles?
I think so, yes.
It belonged to my wife.
Exactly.
Kefka, Kefka killed her.
She
Yeah.
left this behind
Oh
for
my
me
god.
to
So
protect me.
Is Mog on a revenge kick at this point? Is he like,
Feels like it, I think so.
yeah, dear Mr. Kefka, you don't know me, but I know you.
But I know you.
Yeah. You slept with my Moogle mother, and then my Moogle father killed her. Yeah. I'm coming to find you. Yeah.
Mog Gefka, yeah.
Yeah, Mog Kefka.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. King Mog Kefka. Pretty good backstory.
Mhm.
Don't leave the caves of Narsh, though, right? Because now we've got party member number 8 has joined the crew. Why don't we go
And
and
then
pick up
he's gonna
party number
say
9?
yeah. He's like, "I bet my friend the Yeti would come with us too."
Yeah, do you guys want an abominable snowman? And you're like, excuse me?
What?
He's like, yeah, I have one of my best friends is an abominable snowman named Umaru. Would
Mhm.
you like to meet Umaru?
Yeah.
And you
What?
respond to that
Yes?
by the same way that when if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. If someone asks you if you want a yeti, you say yes.
Uh-huh.
And so now, like, you have to proceed through the caves, go back to where you fought Kefka and his minions. There's a dragon here, and again, to reset, the tectonics of the world have shifted in such a way that these 8 sleeping dragons have awoken. They're sort of like the weapon of Final Fantasy VI.
Mhm.
And if you defeat all 8 of the dragons, you get the most powerful Esper in the game, Crusader. So
Crusader.
sure, why not? I'll kill all the dragons. I won't even question whether or not they deserve it.
Yeah. By this point in time, it's pretty easy to crush the dragons.
Yeah, I'll just like do it. I'll kill whichever dragon shows up. I don't even care if like they didn't do anything to deserve it and they're just as confused as we are as to why they're on the earth's surface now. I'll
I
just
need the
do it. I need
resources.
the resources.
Yeah.
There's a metaphor here.
Uh-huh.
It's fairly easy. I mean, I don't know how much of like the dragon stuff we need to really get into. They're all pretty easy to fight.
Eventually, yeah. When you first come across them, you're not ready. And
Uh,
that's okay. You can come back to them later.
yeah.
But I did on my first playthrough try and struggle through whatever the green one it's the green dragon who is at the opera house, and that was the first one I ran into, and I didn't realize that like I was going to be fighting all 8 of these eventually and I could come back later. It seemed like the next thing I was supposed to do was go fight this dragon that's just sitting on stage at the opera house.
Mm-hmm.
And it went very poorly for me several
Yeah.
times, and so my friends were like, "You don't have to do this right now. It's okay. You can go."
Great music to die to. Uh, as you're just getting crushed by a dragon.
Dr. Amanda was very taken aback when I introduced some background mouth trumpet music on the We Crash podcast
What are you
yesterday.
supposed to do? Not do that? I mean,
Yeah.
come
I was like, "No,
on.
you can keep talking."
Yeah. Once you defeat the dragon, then you have to get to the cliff's edge. And remember the Esper from earlier in the game that Terra had interfaced with and then
Mhm.
re-interfaced with and became like a half Esper.
Yeah, Valley Girl Amanda.
Yeah, Valley Girl Amanda, formerly known as Tree Talk. Valley Girl Amanda is like, oh hey, you all survived the world of ruin? Cool. Do you want to fight?
Actually, do you wanna fight me?
Do you want to fight me right now? And you're like, I don't know, Valley Girl Amanda. Can't you just join us? She goes, not without a fight.
Yeah, that's sort
Let's
of the
do
vibe of,
it.
like, all the espers in this game is like, "You must prove your worth to me, and
Uh
then I will
huh.
join you." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, but why?"
All right, Valley Girl Amanda, I'm fine to do it, but you know I've been training in the dinosaur forest, right?
Right.
Saban's been teaching me everything. I have been. They're so good at fighting now. And so you're like, all right, Valley Girl Amanda, put them up. And
Uh-huh.
so, yeah, just bum rush Valley Girl Amanda to death with some, some Ultimas, if you've got
Done.
them. I don't remember if I had Ultima at this point or not. I don't think that I did because obviously you wait until as long as humanly possible to get lock.
Mhm.
Uh, that just goes without saying. So yeah, you just fight Valley Girl Amanda, and Valley Girl Amanda gets destroyed. She's like, "Wow, you're all pretty strong. I think I'll join you." And so she does. And now you've got a new Esper in Valley Girl Amanda, who I think has like this cool ability to what's her boost? What kind of boost do you get from Valley Girl Amanda? Is it
Oh,
like an
I don't know.
HP boost, or is it just that you learn all of the like the elemental agas? I think maybe it's just the elemental agas that you get from Valley Girl Amanda. Anyway, now there's an opening in the cliff, and you could just do some cliff diving. You can jump
Mhm.
if you wish. And so if you do, you wind up in the abominable snowman's house.
Yeah.
And there's just like bones and stuff littered
It's his
throughout.
cave.
Hmm.
And on my second playthrough, I did notice that in the caves of Narsh, when you're going to get Mog the first time, you
Yeah.
can see him like peeking his head out of a hole, like he comes back and forth. And I was like, "Oh, look, there's Amaro." And
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Yeah, but you can't get him now." I'm like, "Oh,
Yes.
that's mean."
Yeah. Well, you gotta wait. You gotta wait until the world ends. And so then the
Mhm.
world ends, and you've got Mog with you, and you push your way through this Yeti cave, and eventually you go and you find another Esper that's like glinting in the eye of a skull in the middle of a room, and Umaru shows it was, "Hey, that's mine. Don't fight me." And I'm like, God, wouldn't you just rather be my friend? Not without a fight. This is kind of getting a little tropey, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
every time.
every single freaking time. And so you do fight Umaru, and
Mhm.
then Mog is like, "Hey, you big dummy, why are we fighting? Just be our
"You're my
friend again."
friend."
Yeah, and then you get the chance to name Umaru if you want. And
Mhm.
I just don't know why you would ever change it from Umaru. It's just a great name.
Yeah.
And I believe live in the chat here, it has been pointed out by EPLP. In the original, Mog calls Umaru his slave, and that he is the
Uh,
boss, says Mog.
yeah.
How does that make you feel about King
Deeply
Mog?
uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't
Yeah, he's
like
like,
it at
"You're my
all.
slave, Umaru." And Umaru's like, "Okay,
I don't see it.
that's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
Mog
Oh,
feeds me.
goodness.
Mog is
No.
friend." And Mog's like,
Yeah, Mog his friend.
No, Mog is boss, Kupo, and Umaru is slave,
Oh,
Kupo."
god.
Umaru says, "You say you say it to Kupo, I say it to Capo." Anyway, Umaru is great. I love Umaru. I know a lot of people advise against using Umaru too much because the problem is you can't control him.
Right.
He just acts on his own. To me, what I say is great. Fewer decisions to make.
Exactly.
Happy about
Yeah.
that. No issues.
It's good in some cases, and then in other instances, you run into here's a throwback, you run into my issue in Final Fantasy VII when, one of your strongest characters is Vincent, but his only limit break makes him uncontrollable also, and you're trying to
Yeah.
time your moves out correctly to make certain things happen, and then,
Yeah.
uncontrollable character moves just get in the way of what you're trying to do.
Mhm. Yeah. But he doesn't do anything like healing the bad guy, I don't feel like, the
No.
way that Vincent does.
Sometimes does, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can like you can't change his equipment either. I think you can give him some relics. I think the relics you can give to Amaru.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he just like throws himself and sometimes people at bad guys.
Uh-huh.
I think he's
He
great.
makes blizzards happen.
Yeah, every once in a while. I loved it. I loved it. I loved playing as Umaru. He is a totally optional character. You could go the entire game and never see Umaru once. He is one of two characters that is completely optional. Um, we could pick up the other one if we wanted to, or we could go elsewhere. We started out in the Veld. Why don't we go back to the Veld, Zed?
Mhm.
Because if we go back to the Veld, there's a cave, and in the cave of the Veld, there is a guy who's looking for what was the name of the dagger again? The icky, what's it called?
The Ichigeki.
The itchy geki. It's like this guy is going looking for the itchy geki. He's out here trying to find the itchy geki. And inside, deep in the cave, if you waited for him, if you let him, if you, he only asked for 5 minutes. If you were patient enough to just hang out on the edge of the floating continent, then Shadow survived. If not, Shadow dropped with the floating continent,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
that's
he
it.
does say, "Go on without me," but then it's interesting
He
because you
would
get to
say
the
that.
edge of
Very
the
polite.
continent. Yeah,
Very
of course he
polite.
would.
Yeah.
Um, you get to the edge of the continent, and it's like, "Leave or wait."
Yeah.
And if you wait long enough and then you try again, it says, "Wait for Shadow,"
Yes.
specifically, but it doesn't do that on your first approach.
No.
So you have to know a little bit that
Yeah.
waiting is worth it.
Yes.
Otherwise, why would it give you the option
Why
otherwise?
why bother, right? Yeah, I totally agree. So you pick up you go into this Veld cave. You have to fight a behemoth that's trying to eat Shadow, and then you have to fight like an undead behemoth afterwards,
Uh-huh.
which I think you could probably just cast Phoenix down on. I don't remember. Uh
Probably.
Most likely. And so like Shadow is like, "Oh, Shadow, are you all right?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, of course he doesn't.
I don't want to talk about it though." But you have the Ichigeki, I believe. He does not, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken. And if Shadow had died on the floating continent, Realm would be here.
Mm,
So this is either Shadow or Realm is here, and this becomes like an additional point in picking up Realm if you didn't wait for Shadow. But even either way, you pick up Shadow, you bring him back to Thamasa for whatever reason. Is that the closest place for him
it's the
to?
place he's gonna heal. Maybe because it's where the magic is? I don't know.
He's drawn to it, you know? He's drawn to it. Yes, and Mike in the chat is wondering why would Realm be there instead of Shadow? And I do think at this point we could just like talk about that there is this whole subplot of Shadow's dreams that you get if you have Shadow in your party and you stay at inns sporadically throughout Final Fantasy VI. You'll be introduced to like these scenes that tell you a little bit more about when Shadow was a dude named Clyde.
Mhm.
And how he is almost 1,000,000% definitely Realm's father.
Yeah, because he and Realm are the only ones who can equip the memento ring.
Right.
And
And
Interceptor loves Realm
loves
and no
Realm.
one else.
No, not a fan of anybody else. Indeed, will often come onto the battle screen and just bite people.
Yeah.
Really off the leash, this dog. So Shadow takes the place here of Realm. If Shadow is dead, Realm takes the place of Shadow. Shadow goes back to Thamasa. And then when you leave, you're like, wait, where'd Shadow go? What? Did he just get out of bed? What an idiot. And so then, like, you leave the massa, and then let's just say you're flying around, right? Let's just say that you're just going for a little stroll in the airship. And you wind up upon some sort of castle like structure that, oh, it kind of looks like the opera house. Let me just check out what's going on here. You're hearing all this music and all this excitement that's going on in here.
Uh-huh.
And you go inside, it's a Coliseum. And everyone is, I've never seen anyone be so psyched to be inside a Coliseum before. Everyone's thrilled to be here. Ultros is working the will call.
Can you believe this? They got me working a desk job.
Unbelievable. I got to pay the bills for the baby Ultroses.
God. But
Uh,
be nice, or
yeah.
Typhoon or whatever his name is gonna get you.
Yeah. Ultros Zed has the world has gotten so bad that notorious freelancer Ultros, self-employed entrepreneur, has had to go out and get a
Yeah,
job like a
a clock in,
normie.
clock out
Yeah,
sort of job.
what a normal squid monster this guy has become.
Yeah, he sold
Just an
out.
average civilian.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how far he's fallen. And that's the end of the Ultra story, by the way. Like, there's no real climax to that. He's just been fighting you for so long,
And now he's done.
and then you show up at the Coliseum, and he's like, "Yeah, I just work here. Yeah, I get off work in a couple hours if you want to get a drink after. I don't know, reminisce, you
Fight a
know,
little bit, I don't
fight a
know.
little bit if you want. I could still fight if you want." If you're hungry, I know a great place that's got seafood soup. Let me get my bib. Anyway, so you then go and you like fight at the Coliseum. If you bet the itchy gecky, someone shows up. Shadow's like, I want that. That's what I want. Very badly. Let me have that. And you're like, okay, I'll fight you for it. Why do we always have to fight for things? And anyway, so if you fight him and you beat him, then Shadow's like, all right, fine. I guess like I could just like spend some time with you guys.
Mhm.
Like that's okay. I'll do it. And so now you have Shadow, and also now you have access to the Coliseum. Not that you didn't have access to it before. Did you spend any time at the Coliseum, Zed?
I did not. I have not. I have not completed my
Yeah.
second playthrough, so I absolutely will do that because I gotta get the Moogle party that
Yeah.
I am so jealous of that
Yeah.
you had. You wanna tell people about your
Yeah,
Moogle
we'll get
party?
to the Moogle party, but first we have to pick up a couple of stragglers.
Mhm.
We have a couple of people that we still have to get, including how about this? Realm. Let's get Shadow's daughter. So she has spent the last year with Owzer, the famous art collector of
Yeah, the
Jador.
eccentric rich guy
Yes.
in his mansion.
Who has just taken it upon himself to break all kinds of child labor laws.
Uh-huh.
There probably aren't any anymore in the post Kefka world of ruin. But he has this 10-year-old, I'm sorry, now an 11-year-old artist just painting in his basement.
Uh-huh.
That's what she's doing over this last year or so. That's kind of a nightmare, Zed.
Yeah, you're just required to paint whatever this, like, creepy old dude wants you to do forever.
Yeah, and I don't know why the game designers make this very specific choice to make Owzer look like human Jabba the Hutt. Like
It's
he literally
bad.
does. Like I'm not trying to be mean. Like that is like literally what he looks like is
Like,
he's just
echoes of Norg.
yeah, he's just like in the middle of the room being like, "Help me, my paintings."
It's so uncomfortable.
And my child painter seems to be possessed.
Uh-huh.
So you have to like fight through a possessed art museum. There's like some shades of Ghostbusters too in here. He is Kafka. And so like eventually you just have to fight the painting, and Realm's like, could you get me out of here?
Yeah.
Please. I don't want to be in here anymore. I actually kind of like this dungeon. Owzer's Manse.
Uh-huh.
I don't mind it because there's
It is
also
kinda
sort of
interesting, like, the
yeah.
paintings come alive, you find some of the paintings, there's, like, secret doors hidden behind places, like,
Mhm.
paintings turn into doors, like, it's sorta magical.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like floating things, and yeah, it's kind of whimsical and fun. I don't mind it.
Yeah. It's a
It's
bit
got
like
good
a,
music.
like, Boo's haunted mansion in, like, Mario.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like the music. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-do.
Mike says that boss is tough too with the changing enemy. I'm trying to remember, uh, the boss. Oh, Chatternook.
Shatternook is the name.
Mhm.
This game has great names for stuff.
This painting of the goddess Lakshmi has been possessed by the demon Chatternook. But
Yeah.
this is how you'll get Lakshmi, the Esper.
Chatternook sounds like a great name for a social media app. Maybe we should patent that, Zed,
No.
as Elon Musk takes over Twitter and we're going to need
Ugh.
a new place to hang out.
Listen,
The Chatternook.
until they come for Discord.
Uh huh. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Once that happens, though, we are not fine.
Yeah,
Less than fine.
that's when we're in trouble.
Well, that's why we want to get ahead of it with Chatternook. Uh,
First they came for Twitter, and
yeah.
I said nothing.
1,000 patrons of post show recaps, and we will develop the app for Chatternook.
Mhm.
How about that?
There we go.
All right, so now we've got Realm, and Realm's like, "Thank you for getting me out of here. By the way, have you seen my grandfather?" And you're like, well, do we really have to go pick? That's my grandfather you're talking about. So we're like, all
Yeah.
right,
That
fine.
old geezer, we gotta go get him.
Mm-hmm.
She's always pretty insulting towards him.
Very ageist towards her grandpa. And so he's at the cultist's tower, right? You know, he's at the cultist's tower. He's just standing around in a circle. He seems to have gotten like a little bit zombified about magic. He's like, I love magic. We love Kefka. And he's just like hanging out with the people at the cultist's tower. And Realm shows up. He's like, Grandpa, snap out of it, you old turd. And he's like, oh, that's my granddaughter. I'm not a mean cultist anymore. And that's how you get Strago back. That's it.
Mhm.
You just needed to grab Realm and show back up at the
I
cultist
was
tower.
shocked at how easy this was. I was like, "Oh, I don't even have to fight anybody. I just walk in and talk to him, and we're good to go. Okay,
Remarkably
bye."
easy. Remarkably easy. And like the rest of the Strago and Realm stuff, because they never really, at least not to my experience, do anything like overly satisfying with how Shadow intersects with all of that. You finish out the dreams, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just my daughter. All right, fine." But with Strago, there's this cave to the north of Thamasa that has this monster that has been like long haunting Strago for many years that we're just hearing about for the first time. And you have to go and feed it coral. Also, it allegedly, I should say, allegedly injured his friend. And so now he has to go and like save his friend's honor. And so you go to the cave and you feed this treasure chest a bunch of coral. And it turns out the treasure chest is like, what are they called in Dungeons and Dragons? Mimics? Is that what they
Yeah,
are?
a
It's like
mimic.
it's like
Mhm.
that, and the treasure chest is like, "Actually, I'm a bad guy." And so you fight that thing, and then you go home, and Strago's like, "Look what I did! I saved the day." And his friend is like, "Whoopee!" and kind of like jumps out of bed like Grandpa Joe. And then Strago's like, "Whoa, were you fine the whole time?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no. It was a joke. It was a joke." Okay, well, I'm gonna go take a nap, says Strago. And then at night, Realm is like, "Dude, you almost blew our cover. What are you talking about? Why would you?" We're just trying to get him to have his groove back. So Roman, Strago's friend, conspired to get Strago in fighting shape to go and fight this monster at the cave when that was absolutely not anything that actually had happened. Um, and I think that that's just unfair, to be honest.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some things that are annoying in this game at this point, because this was Ebbett's Rock, but you said cave, and what I thought about was the Phoenix Cave,
Yeah.
which is one of my least favorite places in a Final Fantasy game.
Yes, which I think we should talk about here really, really soon. In fact, let's begin the process of going to a commercial break. But before we do, I should just tell you that now, at this point in my head canon, what happened at Epic's Rock Zed is Strago and Realm didn't make it. Yeah, they didn't make it.
Oh,
They didn't come back. Strago and Realm, alongside all of the coral, got eaten by
uh-huh.
the mimic treasure chest and didn't make it back to the rest of the party. So that's going to be a problem because now we have like two spots on the airship to fill. Well, don't worry. We've got new friends to make, and we will resolve what happened in the absence of Strago and Realm on the other side of this commercial break. Stay tuned. All right, Zed. We unfortunately are back and mourning the loss of Strago and Realm. That's the bad news. The good news is, hey, uh, the Moogles aren't all dead.
Yay!
It turns out that there are other Moogles out there, Zed.
I
Uh,
mean, that's the best news.
isn't that pretty good news?
Mhm.
It turns out that Mog isn't alone and that there is also a Mog 2 and a Mog 3. Isn't that
Uh-huh.
exciting?
It is exciting. Maybe
Uh,
Mog can find a new partner,
yeah,
R.I.P. Malulu.
yeah. I miss Malulu, but Mog 2 is also pretty cool. So, all right. So Strago and Realm didn't actually die. Instead, what happened is I transformed them into Moogles. And this was my favorite thing that I did during this recent playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, and it's not even close. Because there's Moogle suits, Zed. This is an
Mhm.
armor that you can equip. I don't know
Incredible.
that I knew this, but you get Moogle suits in the game. You get one Moogle suit, and then you get, I think, is it a chocobo suit?
Yes.
And the chocobo suit you can put up for you could put it up at the Coliseum.
Colosseum.
And if you win who against whoever you're fighting in the Coliseum, they give you a Moogle suit. And now you've got two Moogle suits. And if you put the Moogle suit on the only two characters in the game that can equip them, Strago and Realm, now when they appear on the battlefield, they're Moogles.
What a dream.
And then the next thing that I did was I forget what you have to put up in order to get renaming cards, but there's a couple of renaming cards that you can get by putting up items in the Coliseum. And I got three of those as well. And I renamed Mog 1, and I renamed Strago and Realm Mog 2 and Mog 3.
Mhm.
And suddenly, I had a party of Moogles alongside Umaru, and I had a full squad from the Cave of Narsh. And in my head canon, Strago and Realm didn't make it out of Ebbets Rock, but Mog found some new Moogle friends. And
Amazing.
and for me personally, that worked out quite nicely.
Uh-huh.
With respect to everyone out there who really loves Strago and Realm. In fairness, Strago and Realm, technically really became important members of my party
Right.
because they got very powerful and really, really talented at Ultima and the Full Life and all of the Agas. They got all the good magic.
Yagas, yeah.
Yeah. And so my party that I really leaned on for a lot of time afterwards was Umaru and the Moogles. And
Great band also.
one of my all-time favorite things I've ever done in a Final Fantasy.
I
We
love that so
wrecked
much.
shop at
Of
Kefka's
course.
Tower. My game plan initially was to get Mog at a high enough level that he would be solid to use the Malulu charm because you have to finish out the cultist's tower, I guess. At the top of the cultist's tower, there's a boss fight. The whole cultist tower, you can only use magic. So I made sure that I had like Celis and Terra, and I think maybe it was Edgar or Sabin. Sabin, because he was just with everybody, knew every single spell in the game. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm here. I guess I'll just work on a different discipline because I'm pretty strong. So I'll just keep equipping Espers and just learn every magic spell in the game. So Sabin ended up knowing every magic spell in the game. He's like, I'll use it
My
if you need me
shamanic
to.
talents.
Yeah, his nouveau shamanic abilities. Um, so Saban just knew every spell in the game. And so I had like the three of them. And then typically my plan is, well, I'll just have Mog along for the ride as well, because he'll put on the Malulu charm. And then I won't have to fight a single battle throughout the whole cultist's tower. And by the time I get to the top of the tower, I will have full magic. I will not have wasted a drop. And then I'll be ready and set for the boss fight.
Yeah, if you've done the grinding already and don't need to do it in the tower, then that is certainly the way to go.
Yes.
I ended up having to do a bunch of grinding before completing the tower because I did not have enough magic at the right level for the tower to work.
Yes.
Uh, but then the people that I took into the tower, I think I was locked into the party that I had at that point for some reason.
Yeah.
Um, they became like the really strong people who then carried my three parties for the rest. Anytime we had to split, it was like there was one strong person uh, from that cultist tower party leading each of the other three.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Instead, what happened for me is that like Mog ended up being like I was like I'm trying to train him to be serviceable, and then Mog like got like really buff.
MVP. Listen,
He got
he led my game for like the whole at least the last 25%, if not longer.
yeah. Mog got ripped. Mog got cut. He got wind cut Uh, and so I was like, between that and the fact that like I could turn Strago and Realm into Moogles. All right, yeah, I'll do that. That's great. And so now I suddenly had so many Moogles, and I loved them dearly.
Mhm.
Great times. Who do we still have left to pick up? Uh,
Lock?
I think that we've got Locke and Gogo still. Is that the
Yeah, we haven't
remaining?
gotten Go-Go yet.
Let's go get Gogo. Let's get
Let's go
Gogo.
get Go-Go.
So Gogo is yet another character who is completely skippable. You do not need to ever see Gogo. And in fact, the mechanisms with which to go and meet Gogo rather bizarre.
Uh-huh.
Very strange, Zed. It involves getting eaten by a sandworm.
Yeah, sure.
You have to get eaten by a sandworm, as you
The
do.
Zone Eater.
And if you get eaten by a sandworm, you end up in this subterranean, I'm going to call it a prison.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to call it jail. You end up in this cavernous jail where there are these strange little dudes wearing lime green train conductor uniforms
I hate it.
who just walk back and forth on bridges
This was infuriating to
and
me.
knock you off without any explanation or a single "hi, how you doing." No
Uh-huh.
words are exchanged as these strange little leprechauns just decide that we are the trolls who are on the bridge and you cannot pass. If you touch me, you're gone. And God, is this not the worst?
It is really terrible,
It is
especially
also
if,
just
like,
baffling. It's
yeah,
baffling.
dexterity and timing, as always, not my strong suit. And anytime you get knocked down, you gotta do a battle and go all the way back to the beginning, and it's just like, ah, and there's not a pattern really to the way that they move, so you can't really anticipate the timing to get it right. Very challenging.
Very, 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 very horrible. I absolutely hated it. Truly, truly, truly despised it. And so you have to jump around on these bridges. At least the go-go music is really terrific. Uh, wap, wa, da, wa, da, 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 da. Wap, 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 wa, da,
But
wap,
why does
wa, da.
Go-Go live here?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Cause he likes it. He likes it, and Gogo's just like, "I'm here. This is where I live. I live underground because there's sandworms that ate me once, and I stayed here underground." Now, Zed, you'll recall last time we spoke, I said that there was some theories about Daryl, Setzer's Daryl.
Mhm.
Someone can fact check me on this, but I believe that one of the leading theories for a very long time, and maybe is still upheld, is that Daryl and Gogo are one and the same. That Daryl got eaten by sandworms at a certain point in time. And somehow in this strange subterranean jail filled with lime green train conductors, became an expert mimic and became Go-Go.
Wild.
Yeah. Do you like that theory?
It makes as much sense as anything else might.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. Go-Go and Daryl being the same person. We love this.
Mhm, mhm.
And so what I decided to do was to head canon that and
So
bring
what's in Daryl's tomb then?
no
Just the airship?
there's no body. There's no
Nobody.
body. No body.
Nobody's in the
Yeah.
tomb.
There's no body. And so I decided that Go-Go would be Daryl because the game loves to maybe a man, maybe a woman. Who knows who's under Go-Go's costume? And I decided, well, that's going to be Daryl.
Yeah. I mean, Go-Go has big, like, gender queer energy
Hmm.
anyway, so,
Yeah.
like, that works for me.
Hmm. 100%. And so Daryl as Go-Go, and Setzer being like, "Daryl, you're back," and Daryl being like, "I'll never leave you again." And then at the end of the game, when everyone's like getting ready to like storm Kefka's tower, and Setzer's like, "I gotta go because I'm a man and I gotta fight." And Gogo's like, "Don't you dare! You're not as strong as everybody else. Saban didn't take you to the dinosaur forest to train." Setzer's like, "Shit, you're right." And so Go-Go is like, "But I'll stay here with you. I'll never leave you again." And so in my version of events, Go-Go and Setzer decided to stay behind on the airship
Mm,
while everybody else went out to fight Kefka through his tower.
wow.
That's how I decided
Wow,
to
so
use
you left
that.
Gogo behind and took
100%.
Gao.
Yes, absolutely.
That's wild
And the
to
main
me.
reason why I did that, because I love playing as Go-Go. Go-Go is great. The mimic ability, really fun. The bigger thing with Go-Go is that Go-Go, they can like have blitz, magic, whatever you want to toss on, and that is delightful. Just like terrific stuff. The problem is if you're doing fast forward auto
Yeah.
attack in this version of Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, Go-Go doesn't remember this stuff. I don't remember if it's internally within the battle or at the very least from battle to battle.
No, it's within the battle itself. If you want
No,
them to bum
no.
rush or meteor strike every single time,
Sorry.
you
Sorry.
gotta you gotta manually input it every
I'll
single
tell I'll
time.
tell you what, Al Brooklyn Zed. I'd rather teach Gao Ultima.
Apparently. Uh-huh.
I'd rather teach Gao Ultima and give Go-Go some sort of thematic connection to Setzer that gets Setzer off my team also. I'll
Mhm.
make that trade. So that was the trade that I made. So that's how I used Go-Go in this playthrough of Final Fantasy VI. Um, but otherwise, Go-Go is supremely useful and really, really cool. Just in this one, not great. Um, okay, I guess we got to go get Locke.
Mhm.
Locke is in the Phoenix Cave. Talk to me about the Phoenix Cave.
I I texted you as soon as I finished it, and I said, "The Phoenix Cave can kick rocks."
Yes.
It's so mechanically complicated and time consuming. And I'm trying to remember what else I hated about it. I think the enemies in here are probably really challenging. Um, it's just you have to have two parties, and your parties have to take turns standing on switches so that your other party can move
Hmm.
as you wind your way through two different patterns or two different pathways in the Phoenix Cave. Because you
Yes.
gotta deactivate spikes, you gotta make bridges appear and
Yes.
disappear. It is complicated.
That's a really kind way of saying horrible. The Phoenix Cave sucks. There's all these monsters that turn you into zombies. It's so
Yeah,
aggravating. You can just get horribly zombified. There is like this there's this one enemy that is like the big head that I think is really cool, like design wise. They just have like these like there's like, hey, I'm just a floating head. And there's like some cool enemy designs in here. And I guess like some of like the functionality of like you guys go this way, we're going this way. I'll step on a switch so that you could walk through a rock. Like it's, it's like kind of like a fun concept, but it's also just like frustrating. And especially if you haven't juiced up enough of your people at that point.
yeah.
The enemies are really, really, really aggravating in this one for me. If you don't have like a ribbon or something similar, the status effects get more cumbersome and annoying than anything
Than
else.
anything, yeah. You can use amulets to prevent zombie, I think, which is really the biggest thing. The other ones you can kind of work around if you have to, but zombie is so difficult because it kills your party member, but they keep attacking your own party instead.
Right, right.
And you can't Asuna your way out of that. You specifically have to have holy water. So if you are not stocked up on holy water, you have a problem.
Yeah. So you want a lot of holy water to pound while you are being turned into zombies regularly. Yada, yada, yada. Fight a red dragon if you want. Locke has come to the Phoenix Cave to steal all the treasure and take the Phoenix Esper to bring back to Rachel, who, to Rachel's credit, has made it through to the world of ruin. Kolingen looks like it got, pretty messed up as well, and Rachel's still hanging in. And so Locke is going to bring the thing to Rachel, and it's not going to work. It's going to work long enough for Rachel to wake up and be like, Locke, let me absolve you of all of your guilt. The,
Uh-huh.
the time we spent together was so great. I love you, Locke. You're the best. Even though you're kind of really weak in battle and your steal rate is lower than I'd like it to be unless I gave you a relic that wastes a relic spot.
Mhm.
Other than that, you're great. And Locke says, thanks. Does that mean I don't have to? And like, can I now? And she's like, yeah, you could date Celis.
Okay, bye.
All right. And so then she dies, and now you've got Phoenix, and now you've got Locke back. And if Locke wasn't the last person you recruited, I think we're just playing Final Fantasy VI very differently. I will do everything that I can to avoid the Phoenix Cave until I really kind of like emotionally feel like I have to go there.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was signing up for when I got in there, and I think I can't remember if I finished a stream while I was in there at a save point, and I was like, "I need a break."
Yeah.
But it's a tedious endeavor, to say the
Yes.
least.
Yes. It's frustrating. It's not fun.
No.
It's the opposite of fun in there. Really
Yeah.
sucks. But now you've got Locke. I believe we have everybody. So let's just
Mhm.
recount who we've got. We've got Celis, we've got Sabin, we've got Edgar, we got Setzer, we got Cyan, we've got Terra, we've got Gau, we got Mog, we got Umaro, we got Shadow, we got Realm, we got Strago, we got Gogo, we got Locke, we got them all.
Yeah, it's everybody. Gotta
Gotta
catch them
catch them
all, and
all,
we did.
Pokemon. Mhm. Yes. And so now you've got all 14 party members and a couple of other things that you could do if you want before you beat the game,
Mhm.
including bringing Locke back to Narsh where he'll just lock pick a bunch of doors. It's like literally none of us could have just like beaten down the door.
Yeah.
We have a literal Yeti with us
We
and
also have a
Sabin.
thief's glove that does nothing in this game compared
Yes.
to in many other earlier Final Fantasies, you need a thief's glove to be able to open certain doors,
Yes.
and to I think free your friends from prison in maybe Final Fantasy 3. Um, but here that does not accomplish that goal. You have to have lock or those doors will remain locked.
Yeah. Yeah. So he helps. You could get a cursed shield here. There's an old man being like, oh man, I've got this shield and it's made me pretty sick. But if you want it, it's like, okay, I'll take it, I guess. It's like, yeah, if you just fight 250 battles or so, it'll probably be the best shield in the game and it'll teach you magic spells. It'll teach you the best spell. So if you want it, you could have it. And so I take the cursed shield instead, and then like you have the option if you want to take the Ragnarok Esper, the Magicite, or the Ragnarok Sword. And I take the
Mhm,
Ragnarok Sword because the Ragnarok Esper is just going to teach you Ultima, and I'll get Ultima from the shield
mhm.
happily, happily, every time. Um, so yeah, so then I'll just like bring the cursed shield to the dinosaur forest while I'm doing all my dinosaur forest stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's an ancient castle that you can encounter, Zed. Tell me about the ancient
The
castle.
ancient castle. Is this where all the cyan stuff happens? No.
No, that happens at a castle as well, though.
Yes, that is the memories of Doma Castle. The ancient castle. Oh yeah, you get the Death Tarot deck for Setzer, which I never used because I wasn't using Setzer on that
Yeah.
playthrough, but I was like, that sounds interesting.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you go through this castle and you can get the Odin Magicite here by examining his statue. Uh but you're tempted to reunite him, right? With the queen?
Yes. If
Um
you do, then you can get the Raiden Esper, I believe.
Mhm.
But then you've spent no time. Mechanically, I hate this. I really like this whole area. I like that you go through this cave network where you fight Tonberries and stuff, and the music is cool. and you get the Master Scroll here, which allows you to strike 4 times, which is super useful.
Yes.
But you also have an Odin Esper to get that teaches you like a decent spell. I think it teaches you Flare,
Yeah, it's one
and
of the good
and
ones.
also gives you a speed boost, and I don't think anyone else in the game gives you a speed boost. But if you want to get Raiden, the other Esper, which teaches you Quick, the magic spell, and that's a useful magic spell, you just like have to either leave and come back, or you just change Odin into Raiden immediately. I
Mm.
feel like
Oh,
design
Odin
wise, that
teaches
sucks.
Meteor,
Yeah,
which came in very handy for me at the end of the game.
yeah, yeah. Meteor is good. Ultima, I think, is a little bit better.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you got that, and then you can get Raiden out of that if you want. I didn't on this playthrough. Get Raiden.
Yeah, I did not either.
Yeah. Then what else? Cyan's Dream. Walk me through Cyan's Dream, Zed.
Yeah, this is gonna be it's gonna be a long time,
Yeah.
is what I recall. I feel like I was in, Cyan's Dream doing Doma Castle for, like, forever.
Yes.
And there are lots of fights along the way. I'm trying to find it in the walkthrough just to jog my memory a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's effectively a side questy thing, so you don't have to go do this stuff,
Yeah.
but I feel like you gotta do the stuff.
Yeah. You don't have to do this. You do if you want to complete everything. Um, this was the formation of another squad for me, though. This was the only utility that happened from this was it head cannoned out yet another party for Kefka's Tower,
Mhm.
and so I reassembled the Sabin scenario squad. I decided that over the course of Saban's trippy adventure through the world of balance, where he befriended Shadow the mercenary and Cyan the samurai and Gao the feral Veld child, that the four of them had this kind of unexpected closeness, this unanticipated bond that grew between the four of them, and that the four of them became effectively best friends.
Mhm.
And so I had Shadow and Sabin and Gao accompany Cyan to Doma. And in my mind, I was like, we haven't been back to Doma since, well, we should pay our respects. And
Uh-huh.
Cyan's like, oh, look at this place. It's, uh, it's like exactly like I left it in a shambles, totally ruined. And just getting really upset about it. I need a nap. I'm so tired. And then everyone takes a nap and everyone gets sucked into Cyan's dreams, and the continued shared experience of fighting their way through a dream phantom train and
Mhm.
phantom caves and all of this dreamlike
And
nonsense.
the Dream Stooges,
Yes, the Dream Stooges. That
which is
even
a very annoying fight if you don't know the mechanics of it, which are that
yes,
you have to kill a certain one of them first, otherwise this fight's never gonna end.
yeah. And so you fight your way through all of that, and by the end of it, you have to fight this horrible boss fight where this horrible, like, what is this, like the soul stealer or whatever
The
this.
Rex Soul, yeah.
Oh my god, there used to be a really easy way to defeat this thing that was like a hack that I don't think you could do anymore. So you have to like fight the thing, but like actually now, but like you have to kill one of your party members in order to do it so that Rexol will show back. God, I hate it so
Yeah,
much.
it's a mess.
It's trash. I hate it all. And so with the party that I have there and like Cyan being out on the other side of it, being like, bros, thank you so much for shaking me out of this terrible dream that I had. I could never repay you enough. And Saban's like, you've already repaid us with the value of friendship. And so Saban and Cyan and even Shadow is like, you know how much I love money, but I love friendship even more. And Gao says, Gao. And so now the four of them are super tight. They were already really close from Saban's scenario, but now their bond is completely unshakable and unbreakable. And Saban's scenario squad has been cemented as my next party that I bring to Kefka's tower.
Yeah, and Mike points out that in Cyan's dream you get his best Bushido, which you can also get through leveling, but I remember looking that up and you have to get to like level 70 or something.
Mm,
And I'm pretty sure I beat the game with all my characters like in the 50s. So that feels like a long time.
yeah.
And yes, the Dream Stooges are mechanically the same as the Magus sisters or the Magus sisters. Uh, but FF6 loves a pop culture
Sure
reference.
does. Sure
Uh-huh.
does.
Yeah.
So when you're out of Cyan's dream, I think really the only other major thing that comes to mind for me that there still is to do. There's like all, but there's a bunch of other things. Honestly, I mean, like there's Death Gaze, who's or
Mhm.
Doom Gaze, who's flying
Yeah,
around
Death
all over the
Gaze,
world map.
I forgot about by accident on my first playthrough because I didn't run into it at any point as I was doing all the other things, and then I was like,
I
"Okay, time to keep going," and we finished, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that."
I flew around the world map for like 20 minutes and didn't encounter him.
The encounter rate is extremely
I
low, I
hate it.
believe.
I hate it. And I was like, well, I'm powerful enough to wreck him on one shot. So when I find him, I'm gonna kill him. And unfortunately, I didn't. So I was like,
Just didn't happen for
no.
you, yeah.
So I had to take another swing at him, and then I got him. But God, that was annoying.
Mhm.
So there's that. You could like bet some Coliseum stuff if you want. If you got the Ragnarok sword and you want the Illumina sword instead, you can do that.
Ooh.
But I did not this time around. Um, then there's also you can take Gao to meet his dad,
Yes.
and I actually
You
love
love
this.
this. Yeah.
I really, really do. You get Gao in like a suit. You take him to Jador, so you get him the fanciest suit there is.
Everybody's there arguing about
Everybody's
they
there.
all went on a collective shopping trip, like 12 of
Everybody's
them.
there. Everybody. This is sort of like Final Fantasy VI's version of the campfire scene from Chrono Trigger for me. Everybody coming together for the common purpose of getting Gao a suit.
Yeah.
Like this is like sort of like the extreme makeover Final Fantasy
Mhm.
VI
And they
edition.
all wanna, like, dress him in their own image. So they're all
Yeah.
arguing about what's the best thing for him to wear to go meet his dad.
Yeah. Forget the Fab Five. This is the Fab Final Fantasy VI.
Yes.
As everybody is going and just like doing the queer eye thing for Gao. And it's lovely. And then he goes home and his dad is so mean. But
Yeah. His
but
dad
Gao
sucks.
But Gao leaves, and of course, I had his best friends Sabin, Shadow, and Cyan accompanying him to his father's house. And when he goes outside, Sabin's like, "You all right, champ? You okay?" And Gao says, "Gao, I'm happy Dad's alive," and that's it. And he's so happy. What a sweet little boy!
Yeah.
He's a cute little guy. Let's teach this guy some Ultima. Bring him to the dinosaur forest. Level him up.
Have a little dinosaur forest as a treat.
Yeah. Uh, I did give him a bunch of like imp equipment and then cast imp on him at one point, and he was
Uh-huh.
now just like a little imp soldier doing decent damage as an imp. That was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, because you get the, like there's, like, an imp trident or
Yeah,
something that you can use. Yeah.
yeah. I liked having Gao as an imp was pretty fun. Um, I don't know. I think we're basically ready to storm Kefka's tower. I mean, did we kill all the dragons? Most of them, let's say. There's two more that you got to kill at Kefka's tower.
Mhm.
If there's other side quest stuff that anyone thinks of in the live chat, let us know. But otherwise, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Um, I'll tell you, my party was Umaru and the Moogles, Sabin's Scenario Squad, the best friends unite, and then I
Uh-huh.
think Edgar looks at Celis and Locke, who are clearly a couple, and then looks over at Tara, and then looks at the rest of them. He's like, "Double date?" And Tara's like, "Gosh, fine."
Uh-huh.
All right, fine, whatever. And so that's the other party that I had. And so those were the three that I dropped into Kefka's tower. How did you divvy up your party into? Because you need
I am
you
trying
have up to 12 people, 12 spots to fill.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at my VOD real quick to remember how I divided this. Um, I had Strago was basically the captain of one party, I think Celis another, and then Mog the third. because the 3 of them and then I don't remember who my 4th person was, but the 3 of them were all in the cultist tower together.
Mhm.
So they were everybody else was just along for the ride while the 3 of them were putting in all the work.
Yes.
Um, and there was a lot of moving around of the gold hairpin that cuts the price of magic in half,
Yeah.
because that makes a world of difference when you're doing those big expensive spells.
Mhm.
Um, so in this party that I'm looking at now, I had Strago, Edgar, Shadow, and Umaro.
Yes.
Um, I had let's see who else I've got here. I had Mog, Sabin, Tara, and who was the last person on that screen? Um,
Someone.
and someone, yeah. And then who I left behind was Setzer and Gao. Because I had not used Setzer at all, and I hadn't used Gao at all. It was too complicated.
Yeah.
Oh, I stuck Locke in the party with Mog and Sabin because Mog and Sabin can do anything.
Yes. Of
So,
course.
put the useless one in that party.
Yeah. I needed some thematic connection. I
Mhm.
needed there to be a story to tell for me.
Yeah, and then I had
It
Celis, Cyan, Gogo, and Realm together.
Yeah, Setzer's like, "I'll be on the airship with Daryl." And Daryl's like, "I'll be on the airship with Setzer."
Uh-huh.
And so they would fly, "If you need us, let us know." So they had the airship all to themselves while everybody else stormed Kefka's tower, which for me was remarkably easy.
Yeah.
I just walked through it. Like Ultima Weapon's brother is like in the bathroom, right? You like walk into a bathroom at one point, Ultima Weapon's brother is just in the stall, be like, "Hi, do you mind?" You're like, "Well, I think we should fight." So you fight
Uh-huh.
him. You have to fight a cannon. You have to
Yeah.
fight some other stuff. You got to fight the Warring Triad. How did the Warring Triad treat you, Zed?
I think a couple of them were pretty easy, but I am also looking at my video right now, and I fought the goddess, this was like a whole project. Because she turns everybody into zombies, which is my least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I just got to the point where I thought I had beaten the fight with 3 of my party members were zombies and Realm was up with like 600 HP and then she disappeared, but she had cast re-raise on herself and came right back. And I was like, no, I had it,
Yeah.
but I didn't have it.
Yeah.
That one was the struggle that I
Yes.
had to keep like re-strategizing a handful of times to get people with equipped with the right things to try and prevent full party defeat.
Yeah.
But the other ones, I mean, anything with Mog was so easy. He was just so OP compared to anything in the game at that point.
Mhm. Yeah. Um the thing that I remember the most fondly is Umaru and the Mughals going up against the goddess,
Uh-huh.
and they like cast Ultima just a bunch of times, and the goddess is just like, "I can't.
Yeah.
I can't anymore." And I was laughing my head off the whole time. Like, this is the best. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Um, I screenshotted it. I treasure these. There's like a sequence of events I treasure forever now.
Uh-huh.
It's just unbelievably ridiculous to look at.
It's truly perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're gonna get through all of that, and then you'll get up to the top of Kefka's tower.
Yeah. Where Kefka's just like, "Hi, guys.
Yeah.
It's just me, Kefka, just shooting laser beams at the world. And just, causing death and destruction, really for no reason other than I like it.
Mhm.
I like to do it." And everyone's like, "Could you stop?"
Yeah.
And he says, "I don't think
He's like,
so."
"Make me."
He's like, "I could. Do I want to stop? I don't particularly. I'm pretty satisfied with what I've been doing here." And
Mhm.
yeah, much like you, I think it's not because you necessarily use him the most. Because if it was who you used the most, Saban would be in this position here. But I think Mog was the leader of the right party, and so like Mog got called upon by Kefka to like. Mog was like, "Listen, Kefka, you've lost your way." Basically, or whatever like speech he
Yeah.
gives
The,
him.
like, intense final showdown confrontation conversation in my
Hmm.
playthrough happened between Kefka and
Yeah,
Mog, and I was like,
same,
"This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in a
same,
video game."
same. Yeah. Listen, Kefka Kupo. Things are happening out there in the world of ruin, Kupo.
Yeah.
Lives are being lost, Kupo. People are just trying to scrape on by for their next meal, Kupo. Meanwhile, you sit in your tower, Kupo, and and reap all of the resources that the land has to offer, Kupo. And you think that your day of reckoning isn't coming as well, Kupo? You've got another thing coming, Kupo. And Kefka's like, shut up. And he kicks Mog off the tower.
Mhm.
And Mog goes, ah. And then Kefka's like, okay, well, I'm going to shoot some more lasers now. But then if you'd like to fight a gigantic, monstrous statue version of me with the most incredible music playing underneath it, the 15-minute dancing mad track,
Yes.
um, yeah, just go for that. And so then, like, the game makes it so that you have to choose what order your party members will come in, and if characters die at the end of different phases of the fight, they'll be replaced by other people in the lineup
Mhm.
who are waiting on deck. I don't remember exactly what it ended up being, but my final permutation, at least, ended up being Celis, Terra, and two Mughals that took down Kefka.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it ended up yeah, it didn't really matter for me, the order, because the only people that I was gonna use were the first 4, and so it was Mog, Celis, Sabin, and Strago.
Yeah.
That was I'm pretty sure that was the cultist tower squad, and so they were the ones to lead the way, and I
Yeah.
didn't need anything else.
Yeah. This was also rather easy for me,
Mhm.
because there's the hoarding of items. So if you really needed, like a mega elixir or whatever, I had them.
Yeah, you got all the elixirs from
There's
all
a
the clocks.
there's enough equipment that, magic don't cost a thing for certain people. And then
Uh-huh.
there's also like the one thing that allows you the soul of Thamasa, I believe, that allows you to cast spells twice.
Yeah. So you
Then
just double Ultima constantly.
yeah,
Yep.
yes. And then for one other person, like I was casting Ultima for a single thing, for like a single magic point,
Yeah, because
and
if you combine the soul of the massa and the gold hairpin or whatever the one is that makes the magic really cheap, it costs you nothing to
very
do magic
little.
over and over and over
I
again.
think the Celestine costs a single magic point, so obviously I gave that to Celis.
Yeah.
And I think I gave the soul of the Massa to Shadow because my head canon for Shadow was like,
Sure.
I'm going to accept that I am tied to Thamasa, and I shall forgo my money hungry mercenary ways to become one of the best sorcerers in the land. And so I had him just like casting magic like a boss throughout much of the run of Kefka's Tower. And that was very satisfying for me. Um, yeah, but then like I just like Saban is like, I taught you everything I know to everybody.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, he learned bum rush from Duncan, but I guess that's called Phantom Rush now. He's like, I've taught you everything I know. You got this, everybody. You all know what to do. And so everybody was so ripped and so jacked that my stats were insane. Like
Yeah.
at the lowest, I had like 500 MP for like my worst person out there. I feel like, not counting Umaro, who has no magic. So like
Right.
nothing could stop me.
Yep.
And I just ultimate the crap out of Kefka.
Yeah, you've got everything you need, so, like, it's not hard all of a sudden. You know what to do.
Yeah. And I kept being like, man, I'm staggering my party so that like it'll tell a great story when people die and then other people show up. And that I think like you inevitably have to lose one person. I think maybe I lost two. I think like I lost Sabin and one of the other Mughals. And then Terra and Celis showed up. But by other than that, like everyone was fine.
Yeah, and
Like,
the final showdown with Kefka is so good. Like,
yeah.
the writing of Kefka in this game is excellent.
Yes.
I love it so much. Great villain. Final appearance of Kefka as like a Greek god statue with wings draped in like a little bit of red fabric with like a
Yes.
giant feather in his hair. Oh,
Yes.
it's so good.
It's tremendously great. As he's just yeah, he's just laughing too throughout all of it.
Mhm.
Like you hear his little really, really great. And Dancing Mad is just a really, really cool tune. The final boss music is great. He's just a totally different vibe than so many of the other villains that you encounter in these kinds of games. He's not really self-serious at all. Um, he just wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Uh,
Excellent.
yeah, and it's great.
Incredible.
And for a long ass time, he does. There's a very strong argument that he is, if not the most effective Final Fantasy villain, that really high up there. Because he spends a full year at the height of his glory. He's destroyed the world, and he gets to
Yeah.
relish in that for a full ass year.
Yep.
Longer, depending on how long you think that the party collection takes.
Mhm.
For me, that was
Yeah.
definitely another year. 2 years.
It's an adventure. You
Yeah.
gotta d you know, you're crossing oceans on a boat, and, like, that looks fast in the game, but think about how long that actually takes.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
So, RIP Kefka the God, right? He really did it. He did
Yeah.
such a great job destroying the world, and I do feel like he deserves some commending over that.
Yeah, MVP points for being good at what he does,
Yes, as we like to
even
do.
if what he's doing is terrible.
Yes, correct. So we are huge fans of that. So Kefka dies, and the tower starts to fall apart, and magic is leaving this world. And Terra's like, "Follow me, I know the way." And then you get to the ending, and the ending is sweet. The ending is just showing you all these different little scenes of all these different characters. It's predominantly featuring Edgar, Celis, and Setzer because they are the three characters that you absolutely have to have in your party.
Mhm.
So it is. I do think that that's unfortunate that so much of the ending energy relies on the three of them.
Yeah.
No shade towards Celis certainly, but I do feel like there were probably other people that could have been featured a little bit better. But these were the three that you have to get in order to beat the game.
Mhm.
Whose endings stand out to you the most?
Good question. Let's see what we have here. I don't like off the top of my head, I don't remember the end of the game terribly strongly. Like the big important part to me is fighting Kefka and defeating Kefka, and then it's just sort of gravy that happens after that in the resolution of the
There's like
various stories.
tiny little character moments.
Yeah.
Celis almost falls to death. Locke saves her. Not again. I won't do it again. Uh, there's something with Gogo mimicking Edgar, I think. Um,
Yeah, you get to see them all up on like the deck of the Falcon, and Celis is like making sure Terra is okay.
yeah.
And
Mog gets forklifted like a stuffed animal. Is like, I'm not a stuffed animal for you to win. That's pretty funny. Shadow dies? Shadow stays behind. Shadow's
yeah.
like, "Go on without me,
Save
Interceptor."
yourselves.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you don't need to like. You can just go.
Yeah, classic Final Fantasy. Somebody staying behind who doesn't need to so that you all can get away.
Yeah. And so he's fine to just die. And so, I mean, I guess you could say he escapes and goes off on his own, but it does seem like he's deliberately tucking himself into a corner of a tower that's about to explode. So I think Shadow, no matter what, doesn't make it in this game. It's the
Yeah.
only way that Shadow makes it. The only version of this game in which he survives is if you get him from the floating continent, stay for him, and then
And then leave him alone.
either don't pick him up in the Veld cave or at least wake him up so he's not mauled by behemoths, and then let him live his life out looking for
In
the
Thamasa,
Ichigeki in
yeah.
the at the Coliseum. That's it. That's Shadow's happy ending, I guess. And then yeah, you leave. Magic leaves the world. Terra's alive. She lets her hair down, and it's just blowing in the wind. and that's effectively Final Fantasy VI. The world is going to heal, but magic has to go. That's kind of sad. I feel like it's a sad sacrifice to have to make. But that's
Mhm.
FF6, and it's a really lovely time.
Yeah.
I really love this game a lot. It's not my favorite the way that it is for many people, but I totally see it and I totally get it and I appreciate it. And I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. I'm secretly really glad that you enjoy Final Fantasy IV more.
Uh-huh.
But I am glad that you enjoyed FF6 as much as you did.
Yeah, I think I haven't even played Final Fantasy IV a second time yet, and even more than the story, the characters of Final Fantasy IV just, like, stole their way into my heart so
Yeah.
fast, that it's pretty hard to beat that. But I did have a really good time with Final Fantasy VI. It's a long, sprawling game, 14 characters is a lot, uh even when we've been talking about Chrono Cross and it's 40 characters, 14
Right.
characters is so many
It's a
when you're
lot.
used to having, like, either you are given a party and that's your party, or you have maybe, like, 7 people.
Yeah.
Um, Doubling that is significant.
Yes. Yeah. And I think inevitably some fall between the cracks of the world that Kefka has shattered with laser beams. But I also think that there are some that just really stand out in this game, whether it's Mog for you or Mog 2 and 3 for me. There's a lot to really, really love. And Tara's just such a great character, and her journey I think is really, really good. And Celis too, I really, really love. Saban's my guy and always will be. I just love Saban so much. And especially enjoyed him this time around as like everybody's personal trainer. I thought was just like a very fun thing to do with him. And I enjoyed playing FF6 this time more than I have in a very long time. So it was a delight. It was great. Um,
Good.
Somehow this is one of the Final Fantasies that hasn't produced a sequel of any kind that I'm aware of. And I am surprised by that. I feel like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VI is like waiting for either a sequel or like I think like in the success of FF7 remake, there was a world where like FF6 makes sense as some sort of remake project. The scope might just be way too big with all of those characters. It's
Yeah.
possible that there may just be way too many people in order to
And
do
you
it.
do have to, like, really seek out the backstories and side stories if you want them. The game
Yeah,
is not gonna just hand them to you the way that in Final Fantasy IV, like, you don't have a choice who the parties are. You're gonna play this the story doesn't need you to make choices. It's
right.
you the best.
Correct. So yeah, I think it might be hard to pull off like a full-on remake of FF6. But I would love to see a sequel at some point. I think could be really 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 cool. Um,
Yeah.
Anything else about this one, Zed? Before we put Final Fantasy VI to sleep, like the magic, and restore this thing to balance, as it were.
Gosh, I don't think so. This is a slightly the end I mean, literally the end of an era, the end of the SNES era.
This is the end of the SNES era. This is the final Super Nintendo. I mean, there is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, but I'm not replaying that anytime soon.
I've, only heard that referenced in the most negative of
I
fashion.
actually kind of loved it, but I just haven't played it since I was a kid. I kind of don't want to reapproach that. Yeah, I'm really happy with my memories of Mystic Quest. But this is the last numerical Final Fantasy from before the PlayStation era and before things really kick up a notch or two with FF7 and beyond. Yeah, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this stuff as much as you did.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast. It's definitely more fun being able to talk through it with you and with the viewers and the listeners. I don't know that I would have persevered through everything that I have played through up to this point without an audience and a squad cheering me on,
For
but it has
sure.
been such a delight.
For sure. All right, so that's the Final Fantasy podcast, at least for a minute. Who knows when we will return? We will certainly return. We have designs of doing. Probably it's going to end up being a little bit of a Chrono Cross vent session to a certain extent. Though there are things that I really do love about that game and appreciate about that game that I definitely want to focus on. Who knows when that's going to come? We can't guarantee a date, but that'll be the next one that comes into your feed here. Final Fantasy IX is absolutely on the docket. It's just a matter of when. I don't know if you can tell by looking at your post show recaps podcast feed, but there's a lot of television right now.
And a
And we're
lot more coming up in the very near future.
and we're working really hard to cover as much of it as we possibly can. So the timing is a little bit of an issue. But we'll figure it out. We'll get there. We will not close this book without you playing FF9 for the podcast, Zed. There's just no way. Um,
I've been looking forward to that since I finished FF7 over a year ago, so
it's
I
gonna be
can't wait for
it's
us
gonna
to
be
get
really
there.
fun, and I don't want to do it until I can replay it because I want to replay it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's gonna be really really exciting once we dig into that. If you out there want more post show recaps, adjacent video game coverage, go to twitch.tv/Hard Rock Hope. Watch Zed play all kinds of video games. Zed, what's going on twitch.tv/Hard Rock Hope these days?
Currently on my
Well,
slimmer schedule,
currently,
courtesy
we're podcasting live on
yeah,
twitch.tv/Hard
at
Rock
this
Hope.
moment, yes. My slimmer streaming schedule, uh, we have been focusing on Chrono Cross, and I am nearing the end, I think, of a playthrough of Pokemon Shining Pearl, my first Pokemon game in 20 years, which has been fine. Um, I don't think that's anybody's like top Pokemon game. It was just suggested to me as a good way to reintegrate into the Pokemon world, and it was on Switch, which made it easily available to me. Uh, we'll see if other Pokemon happens or not, but I'm looking forward to getting into some new stuff that I haven't played before in the near future. I think Persona 5 is on the docket. I purchased it months ago, so it is available when I have the time to dedicate to it, and I've got a couple other ideas as
Nice.
well. So come
Awesome.
hang out with me here on twitch.tv/hardrockhope.
Podcast wise, you also just wrapped We Crashed.
There's a lingering bonus episode to come covering the documentary. Not exactly sure when that will drop yet either. Harry Potter is on hiatus for a couple more weeks while Kevin moves to our neck of the woods. Um,
Wow, are you gonna get a little podcast vacation?
and maybe it feels kind of weird, but I
Please
think
let me
that
know what that feels like.
I'm turning into you, and I'm starting to get anxious about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, but how will I talk to my friends?
Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be back on the mic before you know it. We're already talking about some things that would be really fun. Cool. All right. Well, great stuff. At Hard Rock Hope, wherever you can find them on the internet. There's also going to be a patron exclusive podcast featuring myself and Zed and our former Mole Patrol colleague, Jessica Leese. That has yet to hit the patron feed because I'm very slow at editing this one. But it's in the offing. It is, one could say, it's just round the twist that we will get there. It's around the twist. Is the thing. So it's coming your way pretty soon. It's gonna be a really really fun podcast coming to your feeds in the not terribly distant future. Zed, anything else? That's
I
it.
don't think so, my friends. I
All
mean, those
right.
of you who are hanging out with me here on Twitch, you'll see me again real soon. But if you're only listening to us in the podcast feed, we're not far away. Come to the Discord, come to the
Yes.
Twitch. You can hang out with us there. But we will miss you here in the podcast feed for a little bit.
Yes.
We'll see if we can find ways to keep it alive in the meantime.
Maybe a thing or two. Could be. In the meantime, as Zed says, patreon.com/Poster Recaps. If you want to hang out with us in the Poster Recaps patron Discord, we would certainly appreciate it, especially if you're getting to this point at the end of a very long Final Fantasy journey, or at least a stopping point for a very long Final Fantasy journey. You're like, wow, those podcasts were fun. That's been great. I'd love to just show like a quick month's worth of thanks to Josh and Zed. We would certainly appreciate it. Tip your podcasters, support the arts, happy media, and such. With all of that said, Brooklyn Zed, we will see everybody on another airship at another time. Until then, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. We did
We
it.
did it. Thank you all for hanging out with us here in the
Yes.
chat.
So
Thank you,
much
Mike, for
fun.
reminding me of the things I did and didn't do.
Amazing. Yes. It's always good to have accountability.
Oh my gosh, it's so
I
helpful because my memory of any of it is pretty long gone.
Yo, I got that. Like, I know.
Uh-huh.
This one was very like memorable for me. I didn't even get into all of like my like head canonical reasons for equipping which relics I equipped people with, and which I was like in a very weird zone towards the end of
Uh-huh.
FF6. A great time though. Just classic fan fiction stuff. It was
Yes.
amazing.
Excellent, excellent.
I would love to stick around. I have to run. I have a meeting in 10 minutes, so I got to
Yeah, I
jet.
know you gotta bounce. This
Uh,
was a blast.
this was a
What a couple of
blast.
days we have had together.
Oh my god, so much fun and so great to do this with everybody here on Twitch. This was delightful. I'm glad we were able to do this one live. And yeah, Zed, the thing I told you about offline, I think you should think about that.
Oh, it's thought about. I already reached out to the, person in question,
Oh, interesting.
so
Okay,
we
cool.
shall see what happens.
All right, that could be fun. That could be very fun. All right, bye
Bye,
everyone. See
friends.
ya.
Bye.